a little delay, the image and sound, but
okay, good. Well, welcome everyone. Good evening, or wherever you might be. It might be good afternoon, or maybe it's good morning wherever you are. I'm Yvonne McCormick-Lyons. I'm the founder of the Women's International Film Festival, and beside me is Kai, who is my assistant. Say hi, Kai.
Hello, everyone.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Kyyam Okonkwo. I'm Yvonne's personal assistant, so I've just been viewing these films and enjoying them as much as she gets to.
Yeah, it's been an amazing ride this year. And joining with us is our filmmaker of this amazing film. We're going to talk about the film. We're going to talk about Jimena. Her name is Jimena Monteoliva. And are you in Argentina? Yes. And pronounce your name. I think I didn't pronounce it correctly, and I want to make sure everybody gets your name accurately.
Monteoliva, like it's like
Monteoliva.
Yeah, Monteoliva.
Monteoliva, nice. So welcome, and we are really happy that you're part of this year's Women's International Film Festival. As everybody knows, we are doing the festival this year in a hybrid format. We're doing some films in person, but most of the films we're doing online through our streaming platform. And in a way, it's great because it allows people like Jimena to be able to join us through the world of the internet and talk about her film and talk about what brought her to make a film of this caliber and a film of this genre. So we'd love to learn more about the film and then how it all came about.
Yeah. Well, this is my third film that I make by myself. I had my first film was actually made with another female director, a friend of mine, and after that I made 3 more films alone. This is the last one, and I always been working in the genre kind of horror films, and I started as a producer of horror films in Argentina, but I started as a producer because what I always wanted to do was to shoot a movie as a director, and it took me a long time, but finally I was able to do it. And yes, this is the third one, and the one that it's more I don't know. At the beginning, the movie was supposed to be made by another director, by a male director who's a friend of mine, and I was going to produce. But then he couldn't make it because he had some problems. So he said, "Why don't you do it?" So I said yes. And when I started thinking about directing it, I sort of changed a couple of things to make it more like a movie that I would like to direct, like because all of my previous films are very focused in the female position in horror films. Like I was really concerned about the image of the woman, so I changed this film, which was basically it was the same script, like this women who's pregnant and escapes from a satanic horror band, but there were a few things that I changed. Like I tried to work a lot on the relationship between this female character and the supposed boyfriend, and the relationship with the grandmother and who the grandmother is, and all that, so I could make it my own, and that's basically the story of the film.
So let me ask you this: what attracts you to the horror genre?
I think what I like about horror is that I can do whatever I want. You with horror films, you choose elements that are very cliche, but you transform them into something that gives some more deep feelings than just, I don't know, like if I love drama too, but I think if I have to tell a story very realistically and only having the features of drama and realistic like documentary stuff, I think I wouldn't be able to tell everything that I want to tell. But with horror, I can do whatever I want. I can do I can tell a lot of things with some elements that will make me feel like something more than just what a drama could make me feel. At least to me, because I grew up watching horror films, and those are the kind of movies that I like. So why not taking these elements and use them in my advance to tell other things, no?
Yeah. And I think that it would allow for this amazing amount of creativity when you have the extra element of the horror genre. Like there are things you could do that you wouldn't normally be able to do in a straight out drama. So I think that I could really, really understand how it could be actually even fun. Knowing what you're going to try to create, that you want this particular scene to elicit a certain response.
Yeah. That is true. Like I can use I'm free to use my imagination the way that I want, because it's a fantasy. It's a tale. It's a fantastic tale. So I can use monsters if I want, or I can use, I don't know, ghosts if I want. Why not? So that's the fun of it. Yeah.
And so tell me what it's like, the film industry in Argentina.
Well, actually, it was okay until a few years ago, because we had the Institute of Cinema in Argentina that helped a lot of independent movie makers, filmmakers like myself. But from a few years up to now, there's a political and economical crisis in Argentina that is not helping a lot, especially cultural wise, like all these cultural things that we've been doing, like films, or even, I don't know, in literature too, or music too. They've been like shutting down a lot of support from the government. So right now it's a very complicated moment. We can only hope that things are going to get better. Let's see if in a couple of years. There's also something that is not helping independent filmmakers, which are like these huge platforms that are now in Argentina making films too. So they have money and they can do the movies that they want. So there's not too much space for independent filmmakers. So it's tough. But there's also something in Argentina that is very special, and it is, I think, that Argentinians are very, I don't know, clever. We've been doing things, although it's been hard, and no matter how hard sometimes it may be, we still keep doing things. We will figure it out, but we will keep doing things.
Yeah, I think what often happens, and maybe it happens throughout the world, but oftentimes when there are restrictions within the economy, whenever there are issues, it just seems that one of the first things that they reduce is, funding the arts. And I think that's what tends to happen. They tend to focus on other social items to make sure that what they feel is essential. I think that sometimes they don't realize that the arts are important, particularly when your population is going through tough times. The arts sometimes are often just that alone is what helps us through those times. It helps us, through those times, right, emotionally. And sometimes I think they don't really think of it that way.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happening now in Argentina. But again, we I think with independent film, especially, it's we know how to make it, because it's a matter of thinking and to use the keys or the elements that we have, and we usually are smart enough to use those little things that we have to turn it into something. And especially also, I think, with horror too, again, because since we can do whatever we want, we can use these few elements into and turn them into a interesting film. So I don't know, but I think that I still have hopes that things are going to get better, and
I'm sure
soon.
they will. I'm sure they will. And so, as a filmmaker, do you feel that your perspective is a little different? I know you said, even with this film, that you made some changes to the script to make sure that it was in line with what, the way you felt that, you know, she should be represented. Do you find that that is something that you think is important as a woman?
Yes, yes. All of my movies have something to do with that, like a female perspective and a
Yes.
feminist perspective. Especially
Yes.
again with horror films, we're so used to watch horror films that are made by men, and expecting a male audience too. So, because a lot of people say, well, but there are a lot of horror movies where the main character is a female, and I say, yes, it is true, but those female characters are thought for a male audience to watch them. So
Very true.
I, I think that what's important, or what I think about my responsibility as a filmmaker, is to try to make movies that I want to watch, and that break with all this conception that we have, of horror films. Like, we can do horror movies without all those cliches that put a female character into the positions that we've been watching for all these years. So it was important for me not only to have a female main character, but also to make a female character that is strong and is not watched by a man. I'm a woman.
Yeah.
I like horror films, and I like to watch female characters in different positions. So yes, that's something that I do consciously. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I noticed that you used the female character, you made her very strong. And a lot of times when they are painted for the male gaze, they're more so, the weaker, or they go seek help from someone else. And her seeking help was going to her abuela, who ended up also being a really strong role. And I loved all the quotes that she would give her on the note. That was wonderful. And then also the way that she was dressed, in jeans and a t-shirt or a rather than like, oh, she's running through a field in tiny shorts or something,
Yes.
It made it seem more so as like, you're not just watching the girl to see a girl, you're seeing a strong character.
Yeah.
And she really, she was really wise, and she did like, the way she would escape and everything that she went through, it painted her in a really strong light.
Mm-hmm.
And then the abuela as well, just being a really wise older woman, who was, like her support system, rather than her running off to like, her father or something. So I think that was really great as well.
At the beginning, there were a few people who told me that nobody would like Lucia, the main character, because she's a pregnant woman and she smokes and she drinks beer. And I thought, like, why would anybody think that she's not a character that you would like? Because that's again the conception that all mothers should be like like saints and white and
Yes.
perfect, and how come if somebody doesn't like that character who is uh, crucified and is about to get killed by someone because she drinks or she smokes when pregnant, then you have a problem. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know, that was, yes. And I wanted her to to make her look, I wanted her to be strong too.
Mhm.
And she also, like, maybe she's not perfect, she doesn't make the right decision sometimes, but she's human and she's strong and she can handle it, and she does. No, it's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
And I think you did that very, very well. And I liked that it was a pregnant, she was younger. So, you know, it also played more into that role of young mothers and what they realistically go through. She didn't choose to be pregnant in that manner, you know, and she's literally hiding from the man who is why she's pregnant. So it just made sense. She was able to still go through with her coping mechanisms and, you know, shedding a light on that. And I even think, because, you know, it's a horror genre, it was really well portrayed, the somewhat horror of being in an abusive relationship. You know, you could see that one fight scene on the mattress, and just certain moments where you really saw like the raw horror behind it. And I feel like because you were in this genre, it was easier to, maybe not easier, but it was better put to that light. And that was something I admired a lot as well.
Thank you. Yes, that's something that we worked a lot in my first movie alone. That it was about, it's strange, but it was also about a pregnant woman who tried to escape from this abusive relationship. And I studied a lot, like, this kind of relationships where uh, a woman is abused by the man that she loves, and how to handle that situation and trying to escape from that. But at the same time, it's hard because this abusive man makes you believe that you're nothing without him or whatever. And so I interviewed a lot of women and who were escaping from that situations. And what there was one key that all of them usually said to me, that the sex, the when the sex after they, I don't know how to say it in English, the makeup sex, no sé.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was like amazing. So that's why I thought it was important to have a sex scene, or a
Yeah.
scene where they have this raw but sexy sex. See,
Oh, I think it was great.
yeah.
Oh, wait.
Okay, so it looks like, can you hear us? Because it looks like
Yes.
there's some. Okay, because your video is frozen, but hopefully when it replays, it won't be frozen. Oh, good.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
You're back.
You're back.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope. Okay. I'm not
Yes,
touching
it's
it.
fine. No, no.
No, you're good. It was the connection probably for just a second, but you're back.
Yes, you're back, which is good. We could hear every word. You just that your face was
Yeah.
frozen for a second. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my
And
English
and
is
so
not very good.
no, your
No, your
English
English is
is
wonderful.
wonderful. It
Yeah, I
is.
was
It
thinking that
is.
as well. I was
Yeah.
gonna start off, you know, saying, "Hola, hablo español y entiendo todo," like, but you've got
Okay.
it. So
Yeah, you're doing very well. And so
Okay.
tell me what is in your future now. Tell me what you're planning to do with the film, and then
Mhm.
what comes next.
Well, with the film, I don't know. I really want everybody to watch it. Like, as a filmmaker, I really want that people notice it, and I hope people like it. And so for me, the fact that it's today there in a country that is not my country, and people might watch it, and I feel so honored, and I'm so glad. So I hope everybody could in America, but also around the world. I really hope that people could watch it. And then in the future, I have two more projects, but again, the situation in Argentina is, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm very, I really like these new projects. One of them is a horror film. Another one And the other one is not horror, but it's a fantasy. It's a
Yes.
fantasy film. It's fantastic, and it's based on a novel
Yes.
that is called "The Slum Virgin" by a writer, Argentinian writer called Gabriela Cabezón Cámara, and I really like it because it's the main character is a trans woman who was a former prostitute, but now she left the prostitute that life because she started to talk with the Virgin and starts making miracles to the people that live with her in the shanty town where she lives, and she falls in love with a female journalist. I don't know. I really like it. I think it's going to be great, and I hope I can make it.
Yeah,
That sounds beautiful.
it sounds beautiful. And
Beautiful.
and then we hope at that time you'll be able to, we'll be able to screen it again as part of the
I
festival.
hope so.
I was also thinking that maybe, later in the year we could try to do an in-person screening a little bit later in the year, because I usually do with the festival usually does screenings every month, and so maybe we can schedule something and we can see what that would be. Yeah. So we'll work on that, and then we'll stay in
That would
touch
be
that way.
awesome. I hope that people could watch the movie on a big screen, because we worked a lot on the image and the color, and that would be awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll make an effort to make that happen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
Well, all of the best. Did you have any other questions for Amina?
I think my last question was going to be where you drew the inspiration for the abuela, just because she was my favorite character for sure. I am so biased. I thought she was
Well, at the beginning, when the first draft of the script, it was a little weird because she was this old woman, but she was also like maybe some karate expert, and that was weird. So we changed it, and we made her more like a human abuela, and Marta Lubos, she's the actress that plays the abuela, and I know her from another film that we made in the past, and I love her. I love her. So when we were rewriting the script, we always had Marta Lubos in mind, and she. The strange thing of this is that Marta is really known in Argentina because of her voice. She has a beautiful and very great voice, and here she doesn't talk. So the great thing was that she's always talking a lot in the films, and here she didn't say a word. So it was all about her face and her movements, and she's like sweet, but she's also tough. So I think the main inspiration was Marta. Yeah.
Yeah, just coming straight from her. That's wonderful. I would love to meet her as well. Like, she seemed, just the emotion that she could bring without saying a word, and just, slipping a piece of paper and walking away. I was like, come back. So she was truly captivating.
She makes everything better on the screen. Like, you see her face and everything like shines. I don't know. She's amazing. See.
I have one final question. Do you
Yeah.
have a certain way that you like to direct? Do you think of yourself in any certain way, that a style or certain aspects that you will try to do? Yes.
I couldn't hear everything because it cut. So what was the question again? Sorry.
Yes, no, it's okay. Do you have a certain style in the way or approach to directing that you feel that is important to share, or there's a certain way that you like to do things as a director?
With time, I've been learning, and what I realized that what works for me, and especially with all these really low budget movies and really independent movies. So what works for me is that I draw my storyboard. No, see, storyboard, no?
Mhm. Yes, storyboard. Yes.
Yes, I write every scene. I draw every scene. I can't draw very well, but I draw with the sticks, and I make all the scenes in at the back of my script. I draw all these little squares with where I draw all this storyboard, and it works for me because we really don't have time to make all this the
Mhm.
things that we want to do. Like, I don't know, when we made this movie, we had like just the morning to make the concert scene, and then we had the afternoon to make all the monster scenes, and then we had, so we
Wow.
were running and running and running. So I really needed to take a look at the
Yes.
storyboard and say, okay,
Yes.
everything, we shot everything, so it works for me.
Yeah.
And I have to do it, because otherwise I'm lost. That's something that
Yeah.
I it's like my Bible. I do that.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say it was your Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's great. That's great advice. It's actually great advice, because I always try to think about the person coming up who also wants to
Mm,
direct, because the purpose of the festival is to encourage other
yeah.
women to, share their voice and their vision through film. And I always like to ask a question like that could help the next person who may have the idea, but maybe not the courage or the knowledge or whatever. So I always love to speak to people who have done it before and can provide
We
great
have to
advice.
do it. We have, if we want to do something, we have to do it. And maybe the first time it doesn't work that well, but it will work right the second time. So that's the best
Yes.
best lesson, the best school. Yeah, do
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Well, we want to thank you once again for being part of the 2023 Women's International Film Festival. We're just coming back, as everybody knows. We've all been through this 2-year, 3-year COVID. All kinds of stuff happened in the past few years that I think just made us all a little numb for a while. And, we're hoping that next year we'll be able to come out full force, and most of the elements will be behind us, and we can get back to, or move forward to something different and new and exciting. And we will be following you and continuing to support you. If there's anything you need from us, let us know. That's why we're here. And we thank you. We love everything that you do. And once again, thank you for being part of WIFF 2023.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful chat. Thanks.
Okay.
Big
Likewise.
hug from
Take care.
Buenos
Bye.
Aires. Bye.